Hey there, it's Emily from emilyarons.com, and I wanted to share a personal story with you, and I'm kind of giving it to be a two-part video series with like a third bonus video. So make sure you stick around and watch all three videos. What I wanted to share with you was really personal story about taking a risk, and it was all about leaping into the unknown. And I want to kind of take you back in time and share sort of a personal journey with you that, you know, I'm not ashamed to talk about, but it definitely is not my proudest time. And that was when I started my brick and mortar business. I was only 18 years old. I started working for another wellness center, doing massage therapy and energy healing. I totally loved doing that work, and I had all these weird limitations that I put on myself, but underneath it all, I always felt like I wanted to be something more. And I remember being in massage school and having this gut instinct, like I'd have my name in lights someday. Now, for being a massage therapist, like how is that even possible? Like, what does that even mean? But I always had this like calling, like there's something more. And I never really knew what it was or how to tap into it, or like I was never given this, like, you have this gift and now you can reveal it to the world. I always had this desire to do more, and I was always seeking the answer, which I know a lot of you guys feel. And you can throw in the comments if that's you too, put a 1, because I'd love to hear back from you, because I know that my story is your story too, where it's like I knew I was destined for more, but I just didn't know what that meant. And year after year went by. I ended up opening my own practice. It was a wellness center. I had a couple of other partners. I was 22. And at the time, I actually wrote and submitted a business plan for a competition, and I won it, which was great, because it gave me a little bit of financial, sort of like backing to my partners to say, like, I knew what I was doing. And sadly, that business plan, even though it won this competition, it kept me super broke year after year after year, using that business model in my wellness practice. Like there's not a lot of overhead, but then there was not a lot of room and opportunity to grow more. I was always picking up more hours or doing chair massage at different like gigs and health fairs. I was giving away my services. I was discounting my services. So all of you who have been discounting your services, if you are any kind of provider, it doesn't matter if you're a coach, if you are a consultant, if you're a hands-on healer, it doesn't matter what you are, trainer. If you've ever discounted your services, put a 2 in the comments, because I know, again, this is like we've all gone through these stories. And so for years, I would discount myself, I would give away my services, and I was, again, still never quite getting in the groove of my business. I felt like I was chasing my tail. And all this time from the age of 18, I was on my own and just massively struggling. I struggled with depression. I never had like real anxiety, but I always felt like I just felt like I was behind. I was behind my peers because they went to college first. That was my dog. And I went to massage school first. I felt behind in my business because other businesses were more successful than mine. I was comparing myself to everybody else, which, I mean, I think we all do that. And I wasn't getting anywhere. And I was so broke. And I love sharing the story, and my dog is going to get some water, of course, like they always do when I'm recording video. What I remember really vividly is like barely scraping by to pay my bills. And what that meant was, like, on the outside, it looked like, oh, I'm this young girl. I am an entrepreneur. I have my own business. I was also a full-time college student at the time. It looked like I was like doing it all, but behind closed doors, like I was like struggling with life. And I mean, I was scraping by $1 to buy a can of Goya black bean soup so I could split it into 2 meals and have enough dinner for 2 nights. I was always able to like pay my bills, but it was like just barely, and I was juggling, and I would go into the red in my bank account constantly. I'd have to borrow money from my parents and then pay them back. It was so embarrassing. And I felt like all this humiliation was really kept secret, and I was struggling in silence. I mean, really, this was what happened for basically the first 15 years of my adult life and my career. And I felt like such a failure and such a loser, because on one hand, I have like a business, but on the other hand, like, I'm not making any money. I'm super broke. I can't go with my friends. And if I do, I'm like putting on a credit card, and it was really a depressing time. And all the while there's this inner voice. It's like, you need to do more. You need to do more and help more people. And I had no idea how to make that happen. And for a little while, I went the corporate route, and I started working at a corporate job to like get out of like the chasing my tail and never having enough thing and all the scarcity that I created in my life. But then that was soulless. It was like, I felt like my soul was being sucked out of me. And then, again, if you guys can relate, let me know. I felt like my soul was being sucked out of me. Even though I had this like great paying job, I was making money, which I didn't have really before. But on the other hand, I just felt like, what am I really doing? How am I helping anybody? And so I went back into doing more wellness stuff. And what I found was that was really my true calling. I started teaching yoga, and I was helping more people, a little bit at a time. But ultimately, still, I was trading my time for money. So if you're in a position right now where you're trading your time for money, put a 3 in. If you're trading your time for money, whether it's that 9-to-5 job or you're an entrepreneur and you do like an hourly thing, I would love to know where you're at too. Because really, most of us are doing that. So I was trading my time for money, and I was like, oh, there has to be some other way. Again, I kept asking myself, I kept feeling into this, but it wasn't until just 2.5 years ago where I had my son, my first son, and I was probably, he was probably about like almost a year old. And I had been back at work, and it was like, I was only working a couple days a week. I wasn't really financially contributing to my family. I was just barely paying for my car payment and my office rent and like a couple little things. But what was going on in my mind was like, my time is too valuable now. All of a sudden I became a mother, and my time became valuable. It never had been valuable before, like it was suddenly now. And it was in that feeling, it was like, I need to just get help. And I would pray. And I began to pray every day, asking for help, asking for a solution, asking for another way, asking for an answer, and just connecting to source, connecting to my guidance, and just praying for a solution. And what happened, what was happening was, I was trying to contribute, but like I would be at the grocery store with my son, like in a baby carrier, and my debit card would be declined at the store. And it was so like I would just start sweating, and I was like, oh my, it was so humiliating. And I'd be like, oh, I need to transfer money. Let me give you another card. And I could manage to give him a different card. But it was like, I felt so crappy about myself and about my financial situation. I also I felt like I was getting back into those negative cycles, and starting like depression stuff was coming back. And I just felt like, oh, gosh. And the other thing was like, I love my husband, and our relationship is awesome. But at that point where we were, he was actually making me feel worse about myself than I was making myself feel. Like, when are you going to start contributing? And for me, it was like, well, my kid's alive. Our family is doing well. Our house is being taken care of. All of our animals are fed. Like, I am contributing. And we would get into these fights. It was like, not only did I have like his inner problem, this inner turmoil, and this like negativity that was constantly running my brain, but my external world was also coming at me. So it was like double. And it was like all that was kind of leading up to when I found James Wedmore. And when I found him, it was through an online course. And I'm a brick and mortar, like I'm college educated, but I've never taken an online course or class before. So it was very foreign to me, very new. And I was like, just not really trusting completely in it. And it popped up, and there was this feeling that washed over me that was like, this is what you've been looking for. This is what is going to start helping you to get to where you can help more people. This is what you need. And I actually signed up for his Facebook video ads, and I ended up buying as an upsell his Business by Design online course as it was in a beta launch. So it was like a lower price point. But again, I had never bought an online course, so I was just forking over money on my credit card. And it was in June. I remember it was in June because that's my birthday month. And I was like, F it, it's my birthday. And for the record, I totally didn't tell my husband. I lied to my husband when he said like, oh, well, what did it cost? When I told him, I just signed up for this course. I'm gonna learn more like business course stuff. And he's like, well, what did that cost? And I'm like, oh, it was nothing. It was a beta course, which it's a beta course, but it was not nothing. So I had this secret now that I was holding, and I never kept a secret from my husband. And by the way, I do not recommend you doing this. But at the moment, it just felt like everything felt right. And it felt like you need to do this for you. And you can't wait for somebody else to give you permission. And I find like right now, like where I'm at right now in my business, and I coach, so many entrepreneurial women, is that when they are making a choice in their business, just like I had to make a choice in mine, when you go to your husband to like ask for permission, you're most likely going to get a no. And it's not because they don't want you to do it and they don't love you. It's because they're there to protect you. And if you're unsure and you go to them with like, hey, should I join? They're going to be like, no, of course not. You shouldn't join. But when you can sink into your power and really know that it's you who's making your decision, that you're not putting your spiritual growth, your financial growth in the hands of somebody else. Like, oh, can I have permission? Am I allowed to grow financially, spiritually, and intellectually? Like, is it okay now? So that's what I had to consider. I mean, I realize that now, but looking back at that time, I didn't have that awareness. I just knew like, I couldn't consult him. I knew this decision was right for me, and I had to just go for it and charge it. And it was like, you know what? I'll pay it back some way, somehow. And honestly, within just a couple weeks of taking Business by Design, that's when my business started to transform. It started to like utterly shift and change in front of me. And I started to tell my massage clients, because I was just doing massage, I'm going to be rebranding. I'm going to be doing some new things, and I would love your input. And I started to ask them questions. And I know it sounds so simple and so basic, but by asking them these really strategic questions that I learned from James, it started to give me knowledge that I had never acquired before about my clients and about me. And it gave me direction for where to take my business for the first time, literally in my entire life, like over 15 years. And so by doing that, I started to rebrand, I started to open up, and I started seeing that I needed to take different actions. And one of the things that I learned from James was, if you want things to change, you have to change something. And I took that to heart. I really, really did. And I started to realize I need to do everything differently. And so from the minute I started believing that, it was like all of my beliefs started to shift and change miraculously and instantly. And I started to realize, okay, if I'm doing it this way, I need to do it a different way because what got you here won't get you there. And you'll probably hear James say that, or you'll hear other people say that, but it was like, it was like echoing in my head. What got you here, it won't get you there. So you have to do everything different. Like, I have to be someone else. I can't be the Emily that was broke and depressed and struggling and having trouble in her relationship. And like, I couldn't keep being her if I wanted to help more people. I needed to see myself in a different way, and I needed to expand in a different way. And I didn't fully embrace and have that awareness at that time. But looking back now, I realized that is what catapulted me into the growth, the exponential growth I've had since starting Business by Design. And there were so many interesting things that started to happen, not only in my life, in my business, in my marriage, in my family, that shifted so dramatically that it caused such a huge ripple effect that my business in just basically the 1 year. So I had started Business by Design in the summer of 2016. They had their first ever live Business by Design live event in August, at the end of August. And I'm going to talk more about that event in the second video. So you have to hang on, it's a cliffhanger. But at that event, it was like a time to make some major decisions in my business. And by January, I was fully committed to making those decisions, making those changes. And January 2017 really marked when I was starting to rebrand myself, when I was fully committed to change who I was being, how I was presenting myself, how I was helping people. My entire business model started to evolve. My prices started to change in a positive way for once. And in that period, I'll give you a little teaser, but in 2017, in that just 12-month period, I was able to 10x my business revenue from what it had been the previous year. And I am not ashamed to admit it. In 2016, I think I brought in $12,000 and $13,000 for the entire year. And I remember it was October, I think September, October of, I guess I don't really remember. I think it was September or October of 2017. And again, the year had been going really great, but I remember it was October. I just got the little ding from my guide. So it was October, and I saw that my numbers, I was on pace to actually hit $13,000 in my business. And I was like, I was freaking out. I had never made, $10,000. I bug. I never made $10,000 in a month before in my business. I was about to make that in a month, like what I had made last year in 1 month. And I didn't hit the $12,000 that October. I hit $26,000 that month. And I honestly, it blows me away now thinking back to that moment, because I was like, oh my gosh. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to hit 10,000 or 12,000. Like that's my annual revenue. Like next month, I'm going to try to do 20. That would be amazing. And like started opening up to these new opportunities. And it was like, just by having this thought and this energy, everything started to open up. And I'll tell you more about how I became this magnet and how I started to open up my business this fast in this way in the next couple of videos. But what I want to share was how life-changing it was from being like so depressed and just so off track and running my business barely month to month and just barely getting by, to then scaling my business rapidly. It's changed my life, and I have so much to thank for it. There's so much gratitude I have. And I honestly have to say, again, it's back to that point where I was at my breaking point. I was praying for a solution. And that's when I found James Wedmore. And that's when I found Business by Design and the community. And I made so many amazing friendships. And I started to leap into the unknown. And that's really the point of this video series, is talking about what it takes to take a leap of faith and to leap into the unknown when you are totally riddled with fear, and what it's going to do to me, what the impact is on my family. And clearly, like, I had lied to my husband. Like, there could be major implications here that are negative. But I have such a victorious story to tell on the other side of it, from taking this leap of faith. And now everything in my business is really based on deeply trusting your gut, your intuition, trusting in the signs and the signals around it. So I teach people how to do every single day. And I'm going to go more into that in the second video, but I would love to hear your input. How did this affect you? Does your story feel like my story? You know, where are you in your business? Do you feel like you're struggling? Do you feel like you've made it? Do you feel like there's work that's yet to be done and you don't know how to tap into it? Maybe you don't know what your next steps are. So any of these resonate with you, put a 4 in the comments or just type me a message. Also, I would love to hear from you privately. So feel free to direct message me too. I feel like this is important information to talk about. If it resonates with you, please share it. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button. I know my message is for you, but my story is your story too. So if it's helping you, then it's probably going to help other people. So I would so appreciate it if you shared it out, even if it was just with one friend, or share it in your newsfeed. It helps so many more people. So thank you for watching video 1. Check out video 2, and don't forget about the 3rd bonus video. That's extra, extra special. So thank you. I'll see you on the next one.